Good morning to all of you present today. I'd like to acknowledge my fellow panelist, Mr. Chris Kuta, who is the head of mission for the Canadian government here in South Africa, Mr. Dondo Mukajane, the National Treasury DG, and Mr. Robert Nkuna, who is the Director General for DPME. I'd like to acknowledge these panelists, our esteemed speakers here today who have lined up our program, and all our guests, many of whom are academics, fellow government officials, civil society practitioners, and the students, of course. On behalf of Gtac, the National Treasury, and the Department of Planning, Monitoring, and Evaluation, DPME, I'd like to welcome you all to the 5th annual Public Economics Winter School, which is aptly themed this year as COVID-19 policy choices towards containment and recovery. Governments are always faced with challenges that require sound and responsible decisions which are timely. These decisions often need to consider political, economic, and social realities. In times of crisis, the need for informed, responsible, and evidence-based policymaking is even more pronounced. As we've seen in the last 18 months or so in this time of crisis, decisions had to be made quickly, followed by swift action implementing those decisions, thus raising the risk of potential mismanagement and less than ideal responses in some instances. Over this period, we've seen how the COVID-19 pandemic has challenged policymakers with more complex choices than ever before, with more options that needed to be considered in managing the economy during the containment of the pandemic and towards recovery. The experiment necessitated by this health and economic crisis, coupled with extensive and real data and evidence, renders this an ideal theme for the Winter School this year. In every sense, our spaces are like mini labs, and we are like the scientists trying to find a cure. Whether you are a lecturer at a university trying to deliver a lecture to your students at this time, or a policymaker in a boardroom trying to respond to the needs of the day, or even a company that's trying to render a service. So what could be a more timely topic for practitioners that are here today to discuss this year? In keeping with the times occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic, we are pleased to welcome you to the first virtual Public Economics Winter School this year. We are capitalizing on research that was done as part of our partnership with DPME in preparing the official COVID-19 country report. I'm told this report has been or will soon be discussed in Cabinet. Through the lectures, panel discussions, and student debates we will be partaking in over the next 3 days, we can look forward to learning about the role and responsibility of government in managing a disaster such as this one we are in, while having to support the most vulnerable and ensuring that our economy survives. As you know, it has been quite a balancing act for all of us involved. The Public Economics Winter School provides a unique platform that brings together contributions made by the country's public and private sectors, civil society, and academia in solving the socio-economic challenges that we face as a nation. It is committed to bring theory and the practice of public economics closer together as it aims to encourage students and young professionals to become part of the solution to these wicked problems. As such, it provides an important space to shape the future of South Africa and possibly beyond. Most importantly, the Winter School also showcases the public service as a place for young economists to join and contribute to making a difference that is much needed to the over-changing times that we face. It's actually the same problems, but changing times. The partnership Gtac and the National Treasury have with the Government of Canada in presenting the Winter School has grown from strength to strength over the years. And we look forward to more government partners in future to continue with this really important space and platform to convene for the purposes that I've just aligned. Virtual as it may be, the Winter School will be no different in terms of the importance and relevance of the content to be delivered here over the next 3 days. If there's any difference, it is that this year, the Winter School is accessible to more students and practitioners because it is virtual. And I must say, government will be the richer for it. This is a silver lining that's brought on by the pandemic to us. So I'd like to welcome you all, and I look forward to engaging with you over the next 3 days. This program, as you can see, presents a really impressive lineup of topics, as well as the speakers. And it's happening on this really impressive platform. I'm sure the young people are very, very impressed by the fact that they can watch on their phones, they can follow the program, they can do things. It's highly interactive, and we are very, very excited to bring this to us during this time so that we can continue with the work that is supposed to happen, that is much needed. So thank you very much, and welcome to you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lindy. Indeed, the young people, this is your terrain. You are at home. Lindy, you and I, even though I might look older, are of a similar age. So we're finding our way in this terrain. But thank you so much for those welcoming remarks. I'm now going to invite the DG of the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, DG Robert Nkuna. You will please look at your app, because there's so much interesting information on all our speakers. So if you're on your phone, you can see on the app, on the speakers, you'll see some details about DG Nkuna. He used to be with the Department of Telecommunications and Postal Services, and in fact led the merger with communications to establish communications and digital technologies. So DG Nkuna, this is your terrain, the digital. And when we look at what you've just submitted your PhD on pricing and regulation and network industries, it gets us very interested to talk to you about so many things. But that's not for today. We are here to get some welcoming remarks from you as the DG of the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation for this conference. So you're most welcome, sir. Please, go ahead.
Okay, good morning, Jeremy. I see my colleague, the DG of National Treasury, is connected, Dono Mukhajani. I acknowledge you. The head of Gtac, Ms. Ndlela, and all colleagues who are present here. And let me also acknowledge our Canadian partners and indicate that given the kind of scourge that we are faced with now, it is inevitable that we will have to work as partners across the globe. I think increasingly, what we have known as countries are dying, are disappearing, and we are now talking about the collective of humanity. That the scourge that we are faced with now necessitates that all of us have to work together. There can be no country, no individual, no people who can be safe until and unless everyone is safe. So we are tied together. Hence, we emphasize the value of the relationship that we have with our Canadian brothers and sisters. And I also acknowledge others that I might not have seen here since I joined in this sophisticated platform. Program Director, just very quickly, because I'm rushing to join another session in Parliament. The point to be emphasized now is the notion of public economics. And I take it that although the notion of public economics can be contested, may mean different things to different people. One thing for sure, it means that we have to work together, we have to do things together. It means much more than government. So the word public, in my view, means much more than what government does or does not do, but speaks to all of us having to come together to deal and grapple with the challenges that we are all faced with. So that would be one's understanding of why we are here, is not to listen to government telling us what can be done, but it's also about government listening to others, sharing views on what needs to be done. It is foregone and it's on record that a lot has happened since we faced this pandemic. Government has been leading from the front, and government has been learning a lot from others. And I take it that the DG of National Treasury will go more and more into great details. For me, is to say that DPME is excited about being part of this endeavor, which is not an event on its own, but it's a continuous process, because even after COVID, whenever it ends, we will still have a lot to do to ensure that we facilitate economic recovery in a way that the results are shared by all people of our country and indeed the rest of the world. So, Program Director and colleagues, let me send our well wishes from the DPMA that our team is here, will continue to participate, engage with you. Unfortunately, I will not be able to come back, but I can assure you that we are very committed to this partnership. We will indeed facilitate that the report that was mentioned is presented to the principal, so that it becomes a record that will be used by future generations when they're faced with similar challenges. On that note, I wish you very well, and I'm requesting to be excused. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DG Nkuna. Just to echo one of your main points there, if ever there was a time to come together, it's now. We are connected. National boundaries do not stop the spread of COVID. So we are all in this together, and we are being called upon to work together in a different way. Let me just thank everybody who's been putting their, using the chat function. Some great, if you're tracking it, we've got people from all over. Cape Town, Eswatini, who's studying in Zambia, Northwest, Johannesburg, East London. There's people from University of Pretoria, and I'm just pulling out a few here. Nelson Mandela University in Gqeberha. So this is all, and we've got Fort here as well. So it's wonderful to see you putting your voice into the chat, even though I said we wouldn't really be using the chat, but for introductions and just getting the connections going, please do that and greet each other in a language of your choice. And if you have particular questions and answers, put them in the Q&A section, which is next to the chat. And also you would have seen our tech support team. There are a number of people. Carmen, I think, has indicated that if you've got any questions, and Veronica, please do raise it with them if you have any challenges, and they're here to assist. In fact, there's a whole team that is often not acknowledged, but is making this conference possible. We're now going to move to our next speaker, the DG of the National Treasury, Mr. Dondo Mohajani. DG, I've seen in your bio that you are 22 years old in the National Treasury. So you qualify as a youth in the Treasury space. It's wonderful to have you here. Let me warmly welcome you, and to all the participants on the program. DG Mohajani has got a wealth of experience in the National Treasury. He's served at the World Bank representing South Africa and indeed the continent. He's also been a chief of staff in the Ministry of Finance. So he has got a wonderful resilience and strength in managing that political administrative interface. So DG Mohajani, warm welcome to you, and over to you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you very much. You forgot one person from Mauritius Island. So, you know, let's
invite us to Mauritius.
Yes. No, good morning, colleagues, and good morning, friends, and welcome to this year's Winter School 2021. I especially want to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Chris Kuta, the Canadian High Commissioner, and all distinguished guests today here. Thank you very much, including my colleague, Robert Nkuna. Also, finally, I also want to welcome this year's students. You are most important guests for us, and you know that this year is the 5th winter school. And this year's is obviously virtual, as you can see. And I can tell you that as a founding member and a loyal guardian of the winter school, I'm proud to see how it has evolved since the first World Winter School way back in 2015. I remember Sanita Naidu walking into my office and she insisted that she wants to have coffee with me across the road at a coffee shop called Tribeca just around the corner. And we started talking about this and planning this winter school and I was sharing my experiences in the Treasury and how valuable it is for training, for education and exposure and learning. Really, build what finally is the National Treasury, because National Treasury is founded on programs like these. Many officials in the Treasury, including now recently, we're sending students all over the world to study, to engage, and to understand, the dynamic, public economics discourse, and also internalize it for our own situation as a country. When we began internal discussions and extending those to include Gtac on how we can build capacity in the public, economic space, we could not have envisaged that our original ideas from that time would transform into a school such as this one five years later. And thanks very much to Sanita and the role that she played in coming up with something like this, including every officials and colleagues in Gtac. In recognizing the challenges presented by COVID-19, friends and colleagues, the benefit of having this initiative driven by technology is that we have been able to significantly increase our accessibility and subsequently our footprint, with students representing more than 20 institutions in higher education and students from around the region in SADC representing more than 10 learning institutions. Economics is a global issue, as you all know, of priority to all, and the consequence of getting it right is so deeply significant, impacting on citizens, on communities, in countries, regions, and globally. It is therefore with this in mind, colleagues, that we welcome students from far as Ireland. I've been informed that more than 200 government officials have registered to participate over the next couple of days, and this is exciting. Our initial intention to allow students to engage directly with the financial and other course seats in government and linking theory to practice is certainly bearing fruit. When looking at the program, I'm amazed by the line of speakers who will engage with participants on a number of themes, and on a theme in particular on COVID-19 policy choices that, towards containing and recovery. This for me is important, and the discussions, and I hope, will be in the tradition of Treasury. They'll be very robust, they'll be insightful, earnest, and decisive, will center on how we do or we go forward as a country, as an economy, as a people, with the pandemic showing no signs of letting up. My primary interest, of course, is the economy, and I'm making the best of my team available to engage with you on this critical pillar of this particular program. This partnership with Gtac, with academia, the private sector, our finance family, partner departments such as health and DPME, as well as, very importantly, our loyal co-sponsor and development partners, the Government of Canada, this being their last year as our partner, is a foundation on which the winter program has and will continue to grow from strength to strength. I would like to end at this point that I started. The winter school is all about you, the students, and the impact this engagement will have on how you will take on the challenges of our country and the change you will bring about. I would like to wish you well over this coming week. Use the opportunity that is available to you today to learn, to build your skills, your networks, and mostly to consider how you can contribute to building our institutions to deliver services that impact on all our citizens, making their lives much better, making the state better, and finally making the country better. Jeremy, thank you very much, and I wish you all the best in the next couple of days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DG Mokhajani, and thank you for those reflections of the evolution of this wonderful public economics winter school, and the call to young South Africans to come together and bring your creativity, your passion, your energy, your skills to the challenges that we face. I'm told that we've got some participants from all over. I'm hearing Northwest, DG said Ireland. Let me just check my WhatsApp feed here. I've also Botswana, Germany. Someone said Centurion. You're most welcome from Centurion as well. Eastern Cape, Northwest. We are growing in numbers. We're sitting at 211. So we are off to a great start. Our next speaker will be joining by a pre-recorded video link. He is the head of mission from the Canadian High Commission in South Africa, Mr. Chris Kuta. He's got a fantastic career and experience around the world. He served his country representing Canada to the EU, in Turkey, the Balkans, New Delhi, Cambodia. He is indeed a global citizen and is a key partner to the Public Economics Winter School. So please join me in extending a great hand of welcome and thanks for the support of the Canadian High Commission on the Public Economics Winter School, and indeed many other innovative and brilliant programs that they support in our country. So I am going to exercise maximum faith now. I'm told that something will happen and he will be on your screen very shortly. So the tech team, if you can bring the input from Mr. Chris Kuta, please.
Lindiwe Ndilela, Director General, National Treasury, Mr. Dando Mugajane, Director General, DPME, Mr. Robert Nkuna, Professor Salim Abdul Karim, keynote speaker, honorable guests, government partners, National Treasury, Gtac and DPME, and winter school participants, Sane Banane, Molweni, Dumalang, bonjour, good morning everyone. First, I must say it's a great pleasure to be here, and I'm so happy that Canada has been able to support this prestigious winter school for 5 years running. Canada's partnership with Gtac and DPME on the Building a Capable State project has been a pillar in this relationship for the past 9 years. The project's aim is to build the institutional capacity of the South African government and to promote greater accountability, transparency, and responsiveness. Of course, another central way that Canada is supporting the strengthening of the South African government is through the Winter School. Gtac's partnership with universities is a powerful force that is doing wonders to strengthen South Africa's public economics, public finance, and policy studies capacity, and to build the next generation of the public sector economists. Congratulations to our partners for putting together a wonderful virtual program with a theme that is very relevant to the current pandemic era. We applaud National Treasury, Gtac, and DPME for expanding the program content to specifically focus on the changing political economy circumstances in South Africa, which impacts on public policy decision-making. The program offers a unique opportunity to learn from high-level government officials, senior and well-experienced public economists, and other practitioners. It bridges the gap between theory and practice that other programs are not always able to do. Now, about 3 months ago, I was part of the 2-day workshop wherein the country COVID-19 report for South Africa and case studies on Gauteng province and SAP's responses to the pandemic were presented. And today I'm happy to see that the conversation is being taken further by the Winter School, exploring the ongoing impact of the pandemic and debating on ways to stimulate the economy towards recovery while boosting confidence and investment. I can't overemphasize the fact that any country's success, socially and economically, depends on a dedicated, knowledgeable, and reliable public service. So, let me read to you a few comments from the previous year's participants that suggest this winter school is helping build exactly that kind of public service. Someone wrote, "The winter school served as a bridge to connect my academic knowledge with the real world on tax matters." Another wrote, "I realized the public economics was broader than what I learned in textbooks." Someone added, I have subsequently applied my winter school experience to my work in local government. Another, it inspired me to consider pursuing a PhD in economics and to kickstart my career in the public economic space. Someone said, the winter school shaped my career choice in an amazing way. It triggered me to begin thinking about a career in the public service, an eye-opener of what goes down in the public sector and the challenges that are being faced. It was an amazing opportunity, someone wrote, to learn about the important and complex role that government has in society. I realized that working in government was so much more than I had initially thought, and that government is the place where I can make a difference and add value to my country, using my knowledge and my skills. After the winter school, I decided to go into the public sector after my studies, rather than the private sector. Somebody wrote, I'm now aware that it's important to pay attention to what is happening in the world and our duty to make a change in South Africa. And finally, I have wanted to work in the public sector even before the winter school, but felt I would have to steel myself to be one of the very few people invested in the true purpose of the work, the well-being of South Africans. Instead, I learned that there are very many committed, qualified, excellent public servants. I would be honored to join them. So, I hope that your participation in this winter school program will inspire you in the same manner, to find ways in your career to apply your knowledge and experience to support your government, be it within or from outside the public service. Please do take your learning and contacts from the winter school to go on to positively influence public economics discourse in South Africa. I wish you a fruitful 3 days and all the best in your future endeavors. Ngayabonga Inkosi. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you so much to Mr. Chris Kuta for those really inspiring words. And I particularly loved the way he brought those statements from previous participants in the Public Economics Winter School to our attention. Indeed, this is, building a capable state is perhaps not a slogan, it's an action. And it's a call to action to join the public service. There are so many opportunities for creativity, for expression of what you would want to see for your children in this country. Mr. Kuta was also talking about the need for dedicated, knowledgeable, and capable individuals to join the public service. And it's wonderful that we have so many people on this call who are interested in doing just that. And I've got some further updates from participants. We've got people from Finland. I don't know if you've got summer there, or the sun never sets, I think, at this time of the year for you. I think I've mentioned Botswana. I've mentioned Limpopo, I think, already. And also people have said hello from Bloemfontein. So I think we're off to a great start. We have been welcomed by the principals of the organizations that have made this possible. So please join me in very loud emojis to give them a thank you already for leading their organizations to create this opportunity for us. Excellent. And I think we're getting the hang of how this app works. The chat is live. We've seen a question being raised in the Q&A tab just about whether we are recording this. We are definitely recording this. This is going to be a resource available for people to view in their own time. I'm told that's called asynchronous participation. But that's another great thing about the virtual world now, is that even if you can't attend now, you can always get it later. So we are done with our welcome and opening remarks, and we are spot on time. So we are going to move now to our next session, which I think we are all waiting very excitedly for, and that is our keynote address by Professor Salim Abdul Karim. But let me not introduce him yet. We'll go into that session. And I will introduce him then. So I think you're getting the hang of it. We're going to leave this particular segment of our program, which is the welcome and opening remarks, and we're going to go to the keynote address. And I'm just seeing on my WhatsApp here that please, if you're tweeting and using the hashtag, please use this hashtag for the conference. It's hashtag Gtac Winter School, one word with the Gtac in capitals. Let me just check that I've got that right. Yeah, Gtac Winter School, Gtac in capitals, and W and S for Winter School in capitals, all one word. Please tweet and get the word out there. So thank you very much. Let's go to our next segment, and I will introduce our keynote speaker then. Thank you, technical team.